Hello, friends, and welcome to Cafe Mutual YouTube channel. Friends, the markets have been touching new highs every now and then. So is the valuation of the stock markets. In such a scenario, is it time to look beyond India and invest in overseas market for global diversification? Let us find the answer to this question directly from our very own Jinesh Gopani, head of equity at Axis Mutual Fund. Jinesh has over 19 years of experience in wealth creation. He has been managing many flagship schemes of the Axis Mutual Fund. Welcome, Jinesh.
Hi, thanks, Nishan for having me here.
Yeah, great. So, Jinesh, so my first question to you is that, like India, global markets have been rallying and witnessing all-time high levels every now and then. And given this scenario, why do you think investors should look beyond India to diversify investments?
Sure. Uh, See, clearly earlier, if you take 4 5 years back, it was a bit difficult to invest abroad because of the regulatory concerns, and now those regulatory concerns have been eased. People are given approvals for investment overseas. Mutual fund like us are also given approval by SEBI to have some portion of your specific team overseas. They have improved the limits, increasing the limits of overseas investment. And I think since you are living in the global world, there is always something or the other happening, some new themes coming up in different parts of the countries. And that is where the business models are getting innovated, restated, reinvented, I should say. And what we felt when we thought about the entire overseas investment while talking to our joint venture partner Schroders of UK, there are many business models which are unfortunately not available to play in our Indian listed space. However, now you are seeing some of the companies getting listed which were unlisted and were owned by the private equity guys. But there are many new business models, be it in the healthcare space, be it in the biosimilar space, be it in the technology space, internet space, cloud space. Many business models have come over last 7 8 years, and they have delivered significant wealth to the shareholder. So what our simple thought process was, the business models which are not available to play in India because they are not listed. I think there is a way to play those business models overseas, and be it Europe, China, or US, or any parts of the world. There will be those 4 5 names in a particular country who will really demonstrate wealth for you. So we thought that while taking support and advice of Schroders, it makes sense for investor to participate in the global space. It is like a reverse, right? How FIIs participate in the Indian space for a particular sector or a particular theme. Likewise, Indian investors now also have a chance to participate overseas. So why not take that opportunity?
Okay. So you have mentioned, Jinesh, that there are a few business models which are not listed in India per se. So what are those business models which are not available in the Indian stock
See,
market?
clearly, before some of the internet companies got listed, I
Mm,
think internet or a technology as a play was significantly missing in Indian listed space.
mm,
And you have plethora of companies, right? From a fintech company to a e-commerce company to a cloud computing company to a
mm,
artificial intelligence company to a insurance platform company to a healthcare platform company.
mm,
So I think those companies have been real innovators over the last 10 years. You have many companies which have grown from a $10 billion to 100 billion to 200, $500 billion enterprises. And also, apart from this technology, you have so much disruptions and innovation happening in each and every sector where the likes of, example I'm giving, the likes of Teslas of the world have really changed the frame of the automobile space, right?
mm.
Whether it will succeed, whether it will not succeed, that is anyone's guess. But at least the new age technology of electric vehicle, they have really changed the game, and you can see the market caps where they are. So these are some of the enterprises or the businesses who have evolved over last many years, and unfortunately, we are not able to play that game.
Okay. But Jinesh, how comfortable are you with the valuations in the overseas markets?
No, I think the valuation is a function of cost of capital.
Hmm.
As globally the cost of funds, the cost of capital has collapsed. I think really the valuation have gone through the roof, because even in DCF, discounted cash flow method, when you apply your weighted average cost of capital, which once let's say you used to put 7-8%, now if you straight away put 2-3%, and that is a world order, right? I'm talking. Suddenly your target prices double. So I think valuation is the function of the cost of capital and the power of money available in the world. During global financial crisis, it took 2 years for United States to pump in $2 trillion, and during COVID time, within a period of 2 months, I may say, they have pumped in close to $4 trillion.
Right.
And even those global financial crisis pumping has not been reversed. So
Hmm.
the cost of capital has come down dramatically. US 10-year GSEC, which was used to be around 4-5%, let's say 7-8 years back, has collapsed to almost 1.2, 1.3%. Uh, uh, if I'm correct, 20-30% of the total outstanding bond market money is available at 0% to 1%. So the earning capability of capital has come down dramatically,
Hmm.
and hence money is flowing to some of the asset classes where you have companies who can deliver, let's say, at least 10% ROE
Hmm.
plus growth. So I
Right.
think that is the so hence valuation is a function of cost of capital. If let's say US 10-year goes to 3% after 5 years, the
Hmm.
entire valuation framework will change. But let's say if US 10-year remains at this level and money is sloshing around in the world,
Hmm.
you might see more and more higher valuations on for some of the companies.
Right, right, right. So it keeps on changing depending on the market cycles and other
See,
things.
frankly, economics have changed, right?
Right.
Normally, we were taught in our B schools that when there is lot of money, it leads to demand, it leads to higher prices, ultimately it leads to inflation, and then the higher interest rate.
Hmm.
None of it is happening in over last 4 or 5 years,
Right.
and with COVID further accelerating the damage to the economy, I think Federal Reserves are very very careful not to break the momentum. If at all, let's say this COVID thing continues for a longer period of time, or if the economy suddenly drops, if they start reversing the flows. So, see, frankly, it is up to the Federal Reserve how what they are seeing coming for the economy.
So, Jinesh, what are the key risks and triggers for the overseas markets currently?
See, first key risk, which I should be very fair and open to you, is what happened in China recently,
Hmm.
right? That was never thought of that Chinese authorities will try to bring down their own internet enterprises. So these are some of the country specific risks
One
which
of.
we understand in our portfolio, and hence we have always been underweight on certain countries and overweight on certain countries. So these are some of the risks which is also in India and also abroad, which is related to regulatory authorities, which is related to issues between countries, geopolitical tensions, and so on and so forth. So I think these are the risks which we are keeping in mind while investing overseas.
Okay. And triggers for the markets
To go down or go up.
go up.
See, I think trigger for the market to go up, you are already seeing a good rally happening in the market, right? Market is almost up. In last 1 year, markets are up 42%. Nifty is up 42%, and globally also things have been much better, except for this China event, which led to massive sell-off in the emerging market, where let's say Hong Kong index is YTD down -3%, where India is still up 12% YTD. So I think overall, it doesn't look to be a bad story, I should say. Valuations are elevated. There is lot of retail money which is participating in the market across the world, which is a sign of worry in a way. Uh, uh, and there could be a party spoiler, but I don't know which event that would be. Whether it will be a black swan event, which leads to this party spoiler, like what happened in China, and there were ruffles around it. Or let's say in domestic side, if let's say we have a third wave, and the third wave of this COVID is lethal than the second wave. Hope it is not the case, and we get into a gradual and steady improvement in economy. So these are the risks we should see on the downside. On the upside, if I may say, is if this third wave is not very severe, then economy will chug along well, and you will see momentum picking up in the economy, which should help companies to deliver numbers, and also help many of the listed companies which are strong in balance sheet to gain market share in the next leg of growth.
Hmm.
See, one big thing which has happened in this market, and obviously we keep on arguing why markets are going up when economy is bad, is because there is lot of shift of business happening from unorganized to organized space, and that is we are seeing all across the sectors. And that is where the listed company who have been able to manage their balance sheet well, who is able to raise capital, they are in a much better shape to do business going forward. And so over a 2 3 year period of time, as they gain more market share, as they gain more efficiencies of scale, I think they will deliver you good earnings growth number, and that is why you are already ascribing some valuation for your future FY22 or FY23. Second is the innovation which is happening. So a company which is able to see through next 3 4 5 years, and is able to demonstrate an ability to innovate more than its peers, I think they will get disproportionate share of wallet in terms of business. So if economy is chugging along nicely by, let's say, 5.5 6% for next 2 3 years, real GDP, then I think you don't have to worry on the market collapse unless there is a big black swan event. Markets will chug along well, but stock specific ideas will do much better.
Okay. So, Jinesh, globally, which are the markets that you are bullish on, and why you are so bullish on these markets?
See, we have a regular interaction with Schroders.
Hmm.
We have a monthly call with them
Hmm.
to understand what is happening in the world. Plus, we have our own database to see various data metrics or
Hmm.
the data points which tell us which country is doing well.
Hmm.
See, frankly, the approach what we have in India is stock specific approach. Similar approach we have in the global world. So, like in US, we will have some great companies to participate. In Europe, we will have some great companies teams to participate. In China, we will have some team. In Japan, we will have something. In Korea, we will have something. So it is very well spread across. But if I may tell you very frankly, lot of innovation is happening in US, and hence 50 60% of the portfolio will be US dominated.
Okay. So what overseas investment avenues does Axis Mutual Fund offers?
So we have the beauty of our product is we are not constrained to US
Hmm.
only product. We can invest overseas globally. So
Hmm.
we would have some investments in South Africa. We would have one or two stocks invested from Brazil,
Hmm.
one or two from China, three or four from Europe, and as I said, larger part in US. So
Hmm.
as I said, even our approach to global investment is looking for the business models which are not playable in India, and then you pick and choose the stories which are doing very well across the globe, and then pick and choose those 2 3 stories from particular sector.
Hmm. So you were mentioning that you have one or two company specific stocks in across the country. I mean,
Correct,
it's
correct,
very good.
correct, correct. So idea is go stock specific.
Hmm.
Schroeder has research under coverage of 2000 stories across the globe,
Hmm.
and or from that we can choose top 20 stocks.
Great, great, great. So, Jinesh, you aware that after coronavirus outbreak, there has been a tendency among investors not to invest in China-focused funds. In fact, a few MFD association last year have boycotted China-focused mutual funds. So, what is your message to these distributors and investors, and why should investors look at Chinese markets now?
No, I think see, uh, they are right in their way,
Hmm.
and But see, at the end of the day, trade business is different than the politics,
Hmm.
right? आज आप whatever medicines you are eating, the base chemicals come from China. So will you stop eating those medicines? So I don't think you should mix up your investment, business, and your emotional connect, I should say.
Hmm. Hmm.
So still, you will be surprised that despite such a big issues between US and China,
Hmm.
China is still the largest trading partner of US, and the im- imports to US from China has grown
Hmm.
over last 4 years. Similarly, see, you are in the interconnected world,
Right.
and you cannot live with. I mean, आज आप जो AC खरीद रहे हो, right?
Hmm.
The compressor comes from China, right? At the end of so I think I would suggest that emotional connect, emotional thinking is different, but
Hmm.
business is business, right? At the end of the day, if I have to buy that medicine, I have to buy basic raw material from China. Simple as that.
Okay.
So if companies are not trying to shy away from China, see,
Hmm.
business is different, politics is different. So we should
Right.
not mix it together.
Right. 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 But why Chinese markets offers greater opportunities to investors in India?
No, I think, see, I'm not only focused on China. See,
Hmm.
China is a large economy. It is 4x the size of
Hmm.
India.
Right.
There is a lot of innovation happening
Hmm.
in China. So I'm not proponent of China, but I'm just saying that it's a second largest market in the world right now,
Hmm.
right? So you cannot ignore it.
Right.
But
Right.
at the same time, you have to be knowing the nuances of Chinese market and the way that market operates. So you saw what I just said. The authorities came down heavily into China, but there are many other sectors like uh, what I should say, healthcare.
Hmm.
It is really opening up in China, and whether it makes sense for you to participate in one or two studies, answer is yes.
Hmm.
So, I'm just trying to say that we understand the risk associated with the country, and if we feel that risks are not akin to our investors, obviously we will not participate in that story. So, but I think, uh, as I again said, that politics is different, but business propositions are different.
Right. Right. Jinesh, Axis MF offers Global Innovation FOF and Global Equity Alpha FOF. So why
Correct.
should MFDs look at both of these funds?
So I think, see, it depends on the investor and what he is wanting to invest in his overall goal. Uh,
Hmm.
so what we normally try to tell our investors is, okay, out of let's say 100 rupees, it is always good to keep 10-15 rupees in the overseas bucket.
Yes.
And then these are some of the product layouts which we have, and depending on the strategy, depending on what you like, what you don't like, depending on the risk appetite, depending on the various information available through our document, I think investor can take an informed decision in terms of investing into some of the MOs. And again, we are not saying that you invest 100% in that. The idea is to give a platform to an investor to participate in some of the overseas funds, which would also do well over a period of time.
So Jinesh, most international funds invest primarily in US markets, and therefore there is no actual diversification beyond US. So what is your comment on this?
So as I said in my opening comment, that US is by far the largest innovative market in the world. The kind of innovation which happens in US is to next level altogether. And others like Europe or China or some other countries are really catching up now. So by default, the biggest e-commerce company, by default, the biggest cloud company, by default, the biggest, let's say, healthcare company has evolved from China. Oh, sorry, US. So, see, it is a mother of innovation, right? At the end of the day, most of these our IITN guys would like to go and set up their say, base in
Hmm.
California or Santa Clara. So I think it is a very open market. If you have a great idea, people are ready to back you. Those investors understand those business models pretty well, and hence you have more and more innovation happening, which makes these companies bigger and bigger day by day. And also, we should not understand uh, the market available in US to innovate the product and sell in the same market is huge, because the per capita incomes are very high, right?
Right.
So market is readily available if you have a great business model. So if anyone wants to set up their shop, they will first look at US as a big market, because per capita incomes are very very high, and the acceptability is very very
Great, great. So one last question, Jinesh. So passive funds and ETFs are comparatively cost-effective method to invest in international markets. So why do you think MFD should look at FOF structure for global diversification?
correct. See, again, it's like you will ask that whether domestic active managers will do well versus the passive managers, right? So it is like one of the product available for investor to participate. And means I don't have, I'm not going to say this is bad or this is good. Our job is, I have given you my proposition that our job is to find those best ideas across the world,
Hmm.
and that is what our proposition is. Whereas if you really take passives, they will invest what is index available, and if let's say index collapses, then what you do, right? So we all have seen upward cycle of this passive market. We have not seen the downward cycle of the market.
Right, right.
So, so it is up to the investor what they are happy with, what kind of risk-adjusted return they want to take.
Great. So with that, we have come to an end to this interesting session on global investing. Thank you so much, Jinesh, for your valuable time and inputs.
Thank you, Nishant. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Finally, I thank all of you for watching this video. Please do like, subscribe our channel for the latest updates. Thank you so much.
Thank you.